Parenting is the process of raising, guiding, and caring for a child from birth or adoption until they reach independence. It's not just about providing food, shelter, and safety, it's also about shaping a child's emotional, social, and moral development. Today we'll talk about remarkable parents from different shows, but before we start, I'll ask you to like and comment on this video if you love your parents. The first one that came to my mind while writing this scenario are Joyce Byers and Jim Hopper. Even if they aren't married and not a couple with common children, they still have children of their own and were good parents to others. Joyce Byers, while not having enough money and being divorced, still tried to give everything to her boys. When Will was missing and everyone thought that he was dead, Joyce didn't give up. She never stopped searching for him, and of course, she didn't forget about Jonathan. Jim Hopper was a good parent to Eleven. He lost his first daughter, and Elle definitely reminded him of her. Even if they both had arguments, they still had a bond of father and daughter that could never be broken. The second ones on this list are George and Mary Cooper. These two are maybe my favorite parents from all these shows. They were so patient with Sheldon, even though he's eccentric, socially awkward, and extremely challenging at times. George and Mary always accepted him for who he was and never tried to mold him into something he wasn't. They also balanced their parenting in a way that worked for all their kids. George, for example, cheered on George's entrepreneurial spirit, always encouraging him to make something of himself. Mary supported Mrs. Independence, giving her the space to develop her own personality. What's remarkable about them is how they managed to juggle their children's very different personalities. They understood that parenting isn't about perfection, it's about patience, acceptance, and unconditional love, and that's exactly what they gave. Morticia and Gomez Adams. Now this couple might be the most underrated parents in TV history. Their family may be different from the ones we are used to seeing, but that's exactly what makes them stand out. Despite their spooky eccentric lifestyle, Morticia and Gomez provided their children with care, attention, and endless love. Gomez always supported Pugsley no matter how odd his hobbies or experiences were. Morticia and Wednesday's relationship was more complicated, but it was built on love. Morticia only wanted to protect her daughter and stay close to her, even if Wednesday often resisted. What makes Morticia admirable is how she respected Wednesday's private space. She allowed her daughter to be herself, showing that real parenting isn't about control, but about obedience and respect. Together, Morticia and Gomez showed us that even in the most unusual families, love and understanding are what truly define parenting. Ned and Caitlin Stark are another pair of remarkable parents. Ned taught his children lessons of honor, justice, and responsibility, the most famous being the man who passes the sentence should swing the sword. Caitlin, on the other hand, instilled loyalty, empathy, and the importance of family. She always reminded her children to protect and look after one another. What makes them special is that they didn't force their children into roles they didn't want. Arya, for example, was allowed to train in sword fighting instead of embroidery. Both parents were willing to sacrifice themselves for their children. Caitlin begged for Rob's life in exchange for her own, and Ned, even while facing death, only thought about how Arya could escape. Their parenting showed that true love sometimes means sacrifice, even if it costs everything. Rhaenyra Targaryen, just a wonderful mother to all of her children. She loved them and never gave them up no matter what. She taught her son the importance of duty, honor, and loyalty to family and allies. Even when young, they were entrusted with diplomatic missions, reflecting her belief in preparing them for leadership. When Lucerys died, we see how Rhaenyra turned from grief to anger. She wanted revenge for her son. This means she would kill and more for her children, no matter how strong the enemy was. She still was a good mother to her other children, sending them farther away from her in hopes of protecting them and allowing them to open up their emotions to her. Catherine of Aragon and Anne Boleyn, two wives of Henry VIII, and kind mothers to their daughters. For both of them, their daughters were enough. They didn't need other children and gave love to them even if they weren't boys. Catherine, being highly educated herself, ensured Mary received the best possible education. Catherine encouraged Mary's studies in Latin, Greek, French, Spanish, and music, and educated her as she would educate a son, the heir to the throne. And while not having enough time with Elizabeth because of her execution, before she went to the Tower, ordered clothes for her daughter because she knew that Henry would forget about Elizabeth and believed that in the future she would become the queen that England had never seen. Both of these mothers gave their religion to their daughters as a symbol that they were always close. Mahidevran and Hürrem Sultan, similar to the latest two. Both of these women wanted to give the best to their kids. Mahidevran's life revolved around her son Shahzadeh Mustafa, the eldest son of Suleiman the Magnificent. She devoted herself entirely to his upbringing, often neglecting her own ambitions in favor of his. Hürrem and Mahidevran ensured that their kids received an excellent education in governance, military arts, and religion, preparing them for a potential role as Sultan. Even Mihrimah, the daughter of Hürrem Sultan, received an equal education as her brothers. After Mustafa's tragic execution, Mahidevran lived in grief but continued to honor his memory. Her devotion to him showed her steadfast love as a mother, and Hürrem, despite being engaged in political intrigues, was also known for showing tenderness to her children, corresponding with them when they were sent to govern provinces. So in the end, whether they are real figures from history or characters from the shows we love, these parents remind us of something very simple but powerful. Being a good parent is not about perfection, wealth, or power. It's about love, guidance, and the willingness to fight for your children no matter the circumstances. Some did it through sacrifice, some through education, and some through endless emotional support, but all of them left a mark because they cared. And maybe that's the most timeless lesson of all. True parenthood is measured not by what you can give, but by how deeply you can love. Thanks for watching. I hope you like and comment on this video. I'd like to read your thoughts about parenthood and which parents should be added to this list. Anyway, see you next week, guys. Bye.